This program was first broadcast on Canterbury's community access radio station Plains FM 96.9 and was made with the assistance of New Zealand On Air.
It's time for Emergence News on Plains FM 96.9, citizen-made radio.
Hello and welcome to Emergence News. Thank goodness for Plains FM and thank goodness for Shafia and Peter.
Hello.
John. This is Emergence News. And as we look back on last year, 2019, we've been talking about the emergence. The emergence of whom, I hear you ask. I'll come back to that. We've also talked about some of the challenges, some of the tough times here on old planet Earth. We've even referred to this planet as a spaceship, and that the crew of the spaceship are not really doing such a good job. We've talked a lot about the difficulties faced by humanity. And then at some point during that tumultuous year, the Silver Lady returned to us and righted the ship. She said we needed to give the people hope. She said, after landing the cloud that she floated in on, that we needed to talk about a new year and a new era. She was quite bolshy and forthright about it. There was no avoiding those piercing blue eyes. Even Peter wilted slightly under that gaze. So here we are, thinking about 2019 with the theme of a new year and a new era. Except I'm not going to, because I couldn't be bothered and it sounded a little too hard. So I'm going to waffle on about some other stuff. But I do have in the studio with me the very honest Peter and the very honest Shafia, who are going to talk about some stuff. What do you got for us, kids?
Shafia.
Oh, so I'm just going to be talking about some of the examples that we can see about what Peter's going to be talking about, which is Rave 7.
This feels like passing the plate somewhere.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I'm talking about the Aquarian age. The Aquarians are known as the world server. So it's more or less the age in which group work will be at the forefront.
Okay. All right, so we are co-workers and we're volunteers for a global network called Share International, which has nothing to do with the share market, and the share market has nothing to do with sharing, by the way. Who is emerging? It is Maitreya the World Teacher. He's the teacher for this age. He's called the Avatar of Love, the teacher of angels and men alike, the most evolved, the most holy, the most qualified being ever to emerge from life on this planet. He leads other masters and other evolved beings as they return to the everyday life of humanity. He is here with some beautifully simple ideas on how to improve life on this planet, for all life on this planet. And anyway, I do have some notes around new stuff happening in the new age. Do not mess with the Silver Lady. So I was having a look at the Share International website, and I came across some science and technology stuff. And because we're kind of thinking about what's happening in the new age and the new era, I found this from Benjamin Creme. The age of Aquarius brings in a particular energy called the seventh ray of ceremonial order, and Peter's going to delve into that a little bit more. Our modern technology, Creme says, is modern magic. Ancient Atlantean magic was governed by this energy, the seventh ray energy, and the modern counterpart is the precipitation of that same magical method of ritual onto the electrical and mechanistic field. He's saying our technology is literally magical, not in the sense that it is irrational. It results from a growing knowledge of the relationship between matter and energy. It is the basic occult axiom that in the whole of the manifested universe, there is only energy vibrating at various frequencies. The nature of the frequencies determine the form that the energy will take. We too are energy. He goes on to tell us that everything we see and think of is energy, which can be activated and directed if you have the magic, the technology to do it. So a modern computing system, our ability to send a spaceship off around the solar system, is the result of the magical use of the seventh ray of ritual, magic or organisation. If you make a sound and ritualise it, repeat it many times, you create an energy field. By that same energy, you can make things disappear or float up in the air. One day in the not too distant future, we'll be able to shift 30-ton blocks of stone by the use of this sound. This is done by reversing gravity, by the ritual of the seventh ray of ceremonial order. And we talked about a while ago, how did they construct those pyramids, which are massive blocks of stone? And we also talked about that the Egyptian culture that started way back then was possibly the remnants of Atlantean technology.
It was.
So this is coming back round again because the seventh ray is coming back round again.
And it's actually happening on the Earth today, because I met with a group of people who worked with sound in a forest in the UK. I think I've said this before. And they experimented with sound. And once they got the right sound, they could lift between 8 of them, I think, a ton block of stone.
Really?
Yeah, but it took them a long time, and they had one new person came in who just added a different resonance,
a different note,
and so it's actually happening in our midst at this time.
Yes,
yeah.
This is exciting stuff.
Yeah.
So this ray is daily becoming more potent in our lives, while the sixth ray of idealism is receding. Our problem is that our structures are still sixth ray, while the incoming energy is seventh ray. The seventh ray, and I did not realise this, has the effect of drawing humanity together. It synthesises and is the most practical of all the rays, Peter. I'd never heard it explained that way.
I definitely learned it.
So it works on the dense physical field, relating the spiritual idea to matter. And I'm just going to wrap up with this last thought. I love the way Cream puts this. Science today is revealing more about the nature of reality than religion has done in the last 2,000 years. The schism between science and religion is an artificial one, created by the religious groups at the end of the 19th century, because they felt threatened by the revelations of the then growing science. So that relationship between science and religion is moving closer and closer together. And that's a lovely idea.
Yes.
All right, so who are we going to next?
We're going to Peter.
And what have you got for us, Peter?
Well, I've just written a wee bit here about the Aquarian age, and I feel that this is just a fantastic time to be alive. It's right at the birth of the Aquarian age. We've obviously lined up and said, yes, me, please, I want to be there.
Yes.
As souls, we have decided that we want to be here.
Yes.
I'm not enjoying it so much, but anyway.
Here we are. Well, it's the personality that is just not sure. Obviously, the soul is sure because we're here.
Yes.
So the seventh ray sweeps in, replacing the sixth ray, as John just said, of devotion and individualisation. We can already see the group endeavours taking place. The group action for group good sweeping across the world, often producing chaos, but seeking a style of life more suited to our own needs now.
Right.
As souls in incarnation, we have chosen to be here, as I've mentioned, and so we must be involved in this change and bringing in this new era. The key points of the Aquarian energy of the seventh ray is order, rhythm, and ritualistic work, as John has just mentioned. The chanting of mass demonstrations serve to break up old thought forms and confound the old type of imposed order. I think this is something that we don't realise sometimes, that people have got a mantram and they're out there in the streets, thousands of them, or even millions of them, chanting this mantram. It is like the jazz music which was brought in back in the 30s, designed to break up old thought forms.
Yes. Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
So I love hanging out with you two. I'm learning stuff all the time.
And so I feel that this is, we see chaos sometimes, obviously, in these orders, and then the security forces come in and decide to use live rounds or something and create more chaos, and so it goes on. But I think the seventh ray will embrace a realization of unity and wide-mindedness, tolerance, humility and gentle love. Now, this humility, of course, is lacking in a lot of these current demonstrations that we're seeing, and gentle love is nowhere to be seen.
Right.
But we find that Russia is the only nation, major nation anyway, with a seventh-ray soul. So it'll be interesting to watch this rising star of the future. It will overcome its sixth-ray personality. And, of course, America has a sixth-ray personality, which, of course, they clash because they're both similar. They see things in a similar way. And it's become a personality cult in America, actually, the sixth ray.
And, of course, the sixth ray, at its very end, the end of, when it's going out of incarnation, it's got to this stage where there's a lot of fanaticism and separatism, isn't there?
Rearguard action almost as it moves out of, as we move out of its influence.
That's right. And the separatism, of course, is the big part of the evil, if you like, of our current situation.
And it's been very important to get there because we've needed to, they say that, at the beginning of the Piscean age, we were like, herd of, so didn't really think for ourselves. And so we've had to individualise our thoughts,
And also, as we evolve, you've got to have a strong personality to give it up.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's in the giving up of the strong personality that's been your home for so long.
That's right.
That is the challenge and is also the reward.
Yes.
You've got to have something to let go of.
It's what the soul wants, is a strong personality.
Yes.
Because otherwise it's got nothing to really work with. It's not going to achieve anything. It's too wishy-washy, not here, not doing anything.
So now we've got that, and then we've got this new ray coming in that's going to bring new ways of being for us, which is exciting.
Ray.
Yes. I mean, they say that evil is that good which we should have left behind.
Yes.
In other words, it was right at its particular time.
Yes.
But we should have left it behind because we've got to keep moving on. And the only thing that we need to know is change is always there. Change is inevitable. We've got to embrace it.
Yes.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Anyway, I was looking at some of those things that John just mentioned too, with the technology of light. Now, Maitreya has talked quite a lot about the technology of light that's going to be coming in. We don't know a lot about it, but evidently it will revolutionise our lives on this planet. There will be untold energy available, which will be at no cost to us.
From the sun.
And from the sun. And the aspects of the light technology are just mind-boggling because we will eventually be creating machinery as part of the new age of the seventh ray that can actually build all the artefacts of civilization. And I think this is what you were talking about before.
Yeah, certainly what I picked up on today.
Yeah, and so that is fantastic in the sense that we don't need people slaving away in factories and that sort of thing. People will say, where are our jobs going? What are we going to do for a living? And, of course, these ideas are hard for us to embrace, but the fact is that we're going to be needing more time to discover ourselves, aren't we?
Well, this is what Benjamin Creme says, wasn't it? People will have to learn to manage their leisure.
I've got a quote here. And Benjamin Creme says, this will free humanity for the investigation of its own nature.
Yes.
Which I think is quite exciting, but I suspect a lot of people might find quite disturbing, quite challenging.
It will be scary for a lot of people. Yes, I mean, how to embrace that, particularly as older folk that have been used to working all their lives.
Yes.
And we have a real work ethic that needs shattering in a way.
Ingrained. Yes. And actually, a lot of the older people, they complain about the young people's lack of work ethic. But maybe they'd come in knowing that they don't need to work.
Or maybe they're just smarter.
Yes.
Well, that's the thing. I think that they know a thing or two that we haven't really thought about very much.
That's right, yes.
Anyway, it's an exciting time, and I'm certainly looking forward to it anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's great to go back to that Share International website and revisit some of the ideas that CREM has exposed us to around what life can be like for us.
Yes.
Will be like, yes.
Will be like. Now, Shafia, can we go to you?
This is the Emergence News on Plains FM. For more information, go to shareinternational.org.
So I was reading the Master Dwal Kul, and he says that this incoming ray, 7, is partially responsible for the present tendency towards government dictatorship and the imposed control of central governments. And this is because eventually ray 7 will encourage and enable a complete conformity to the perfect expression of law and order. This is to quote him. Mm-hmm. So let's unpack that for a moment. How do you think we can achieve complete conformity towards law and order? I guess for me, the key words there are the perfect expression of. So what would that mean to you, John?
I think we need to understand the laws of life, which Benjamin Creme has written about. I think we also understand what drives crime, and maybe that's about not feeling you're participating in your society, feeling frustrated with society, feeling shut out. We've talked a lot about justice in our society, and I don't think there is justice, even in clean, green New Zealand.
And even in the law and order that we have?
And even in the law and order we have.
Yeah.
I still think that wealth produces a better quality of justice for you. I think we have an unjust system around taxation and around some of the ways that we structure the income spread, the income generation and the income distribution. So the wealth of New Zealand is unjustly distributed. And I think that creates problems for people. And who wants to participate in a society that's unfair, that doesn't treat you well? I think things like racism and the cost of education and where people are born and how they're raised limits their ability to participate in a society. So while those things hold sway, we will always have lawbreakers. But I often think that maybe it's understanding ourselves and our role, particularly as the creator of our own universe, to quote the prayer for the New Age. Maybe that responsibility is something we need to learn and face, that we are the masters actually of our own creation.
Yeah, we are souls in incarnation, aren't we?
Yeah.
And once we realise that, well, we'll certainly take responsibility for the things that we do.
But we have that idea too of newly incarnating personalities.
Yes.
So although the soul is neither old nor young, we do have new personalities coming in through reincarnation that are at the start of their incarnational process. Creme has said that it's about 2/3 of the way through your incarnational experience, and that can be thousands of lives, that the soul starts to take interest in the vehicle. We are the vehicle. And I guess until that point, we are running around and bumping into other vehicles that share this planet. And maybe that's the basis for crime as well.
What do you think, Peter?
Yes, well, I was just thinking that really that a lot of the people that, as you say, young souls coming in, their experiences won't need to be as long as in the past, perhaps, because the people around them are more experienced. They will have, they may be able to do it in hundreds of lifetimes rather than thousands of lifetimes, is my point.
It's a really good point, Peter, because if you're born into a life of poverty and deprivation and starvation, where just finding a meal for the day is the greatest challenge, it doesn't free you up to express yourself as a valid human being. You're too busy struggling with life. And 80% of the people on this planet are currently in that experience. So if that is not the way, then maybe we will have shorter incarnational experiences.
So it seems to me what you're saying is that we actually need to create a sort of a lifestyle where everybody is willing to conform because it's just and it's fair and they have all their needs met.
Trust and confidence.
Yes.
And justice and peace.
And that's the perfect expression of law and order.
Yes.
Because, I mean, I should imagine on the sacred planets and like Venus, they probably don't even need to have law and order.
No, well, they don't
'Cause it
even
would
have
just-
dense physical bodies, do
No,
they? So,
no, so-
they get rid of that problem as well.
Well, and also, as we know, and the initiation process on this planet 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, those initiation processes enable us as evolving souls to demonstrate and master various aspects of the vehicles that we incarnate with. And it's in mastering of those vehicles that I suspect the inclination towards criminal behaviour lessens.
That's right. Yeah.
And the government of the future will, according to Benjamin Creme, will be mostly socialistic type of government with some capitalistic tendencies in there, because they still have valid points.
Yes, the human endeavour side of it, and sort of,
Currently, the merchant class shapes our societies, and that's not their role. The merchant class have a role
Of service, actually.
Of service. It's not as a role of society shapers. There is a role of society suppliers. So we've got some imbalance there, and maybe crime comes out of imbalance. But certainly we have good things on the horizon, which is the point of this program.
Yes, we do. So I was always liking to try and give our listeners some sort of insight into how this ray might be affecting us.
Seventh ray, yes.
Yeah, on our everyday lives, And so, one of the aspects of the seventh ray is attention to detail. Is one of its things. So I thought, what are some other examples of that? And we can see this with technological advances that humanity has made in the last 40 years or so, which we've talked about. Let's think about sort of, when we use our computers, software coding and implementing is dependent on correct detail. And so all of us are learning about how to attend to detail, because I don't know about you and me, but I have find that, I get really frustrated with my computer. If I don't give it the right instructions, then, it doesn't work. So in a way, we're all being trained, aren't we, to actually think about, what we actually do.
Every dot has to be in the right place.
That is right, yes.
I find if I bring my astral nature to my computer, it doesn't work at all.
We'd be throwing it out the window.
When I start pumping it and kicking it and swearing at it.
That's right. So that's an influence of the seventh ray, isn't it? That we're having to learn properly.
So right. I have to apply the right magic to my computer to get it to respond.
Yes.
And actually that requires me to manage my astral nature,
It does.
which is the first degree initiation.
Yes, and why we all need, we're all so much more educated, because technology is going to be part of our life, and so it's a really important learning tool for us to manage those.
To use technology well, you've got to stop and be in the present.
You have.
You can't be rushing, you can't be angry or going crazy. You have to stop and be present.
Yes, and that idea to throw your computer across the room doesn't work.
I just realised why I'm so bad with technology. That's my point in evolution.
That's right. So I was thinking of another example, and the one that came to mind has been the last few opening ceremonies of the Olympic Games, because I don't know whether you've seen them, but, we witnessed the creation of ceremonies performed with such attention to detail, and it felt almost magical, I don't know whether you saw them, but they were just amazing, and that, to me they were pure seventh ray, really, that sort of, and as the seventh ray becomes a bit more, stronger, we're going to be seeing these amazing ceremonies and magical things. Light shows.
Order, ritual and organisation.
Yes, it's going to be beautiful.
Wow.
Isn't
that
it?
is a wonderful
It's a good way of looking at it, isn't it?
Yeah. Yes, and we'll see attention to detail manifested more in art and sculpture and architecture and the organisation of our environment, because, as we said, it's manifesting this ray onto the physical plane. And one of the things I think that's really happened here for me, which is exciting, is our new city library. I don't know whether you've seen it.
Yes, it's a place I frequent.
Yeah, but it's amazing that it contains many different spaces and learning centres that incorporate reading, technology, play, entertainment, education, craft and relaxation. And it's been created with cultural input from a local iwi. and is full of light and space, you know.
It's beautiful.
And to me, that encapsulates what we can expect in the coming golden age. Beautiful spaces, full of light, with something for every age and interest, and free and available for everyone.
So true. It's very synergetic.
Yes.
There's a whole lot of things going on there in cooperation and in coordination.
Yes.
It's so well organised as well.
It is, isn't it? So it really feels
helpful
like
and friendly.
Yeah.
The technology is beautiful to use.
Yes.
Simple and well designed and well thought out.
Yeah.
Well, it is. It's a 7th ray library.
It is a 7th ray library, isn't it? Yeah.
Great.
I mean,
good thought. Good thought.
And
there's more.
well, I'm thinking about the whole organisation of space, you know. So I'm thinking of, you know, like our new city is being designed into different precincts. You know, you've got your justice precinct, and you've got your, you know, entertainment precinct, and you've got your food and hospitality, and you've got your, you know, the business side of it, you know, and it's sort of this is very much 7th ray as well. I mean, it's not perfect by any means. A lot of people don't always like it, but you can see that order being put onto rather than it just being all random and you know, sort of you know. So it's another good example for me.
And I've noticed that they've put the entertainment next to the justice precinct.
We don't want you to enjoy yourself too much.
Exactly. So if there's too much entertainment, the cop shop's across the road. So once again, thank you, Shafia and Peter. A really interesting look at the new age. Some good news ahead for us around energy and around the way we will structure our community. Yeah. 7th ray, bring it on.
Yes.
All this information can be found on the Share International website, www.share-international.org. Scorpio Books in Christchurch carries the magazine and some books. And also don't forget the podcasts, which are available on the Plains FM website.
We welcome your comments, questions and feedback. Please contact us at emergencenews@gmail.com.
The opportunity to join our transmission is available Monday and Wednesday evenings and Thursday mornings, which gives us the possibility to do a service meditation in conjunction with Masters.